Hello everybody. In this demonstration, I'm going to show you the first registration of this project. I have all my paper done, so the pinhole registration is done. One thing I wanted to make sure that you are aware of is that you only print one sheet off a time, so you set the other ones aside. Also, I know this is the top because when I feel this area where the pin went through, I can feel a dimple on the back side of it because that's where the pin went through. Okay, so find that dimple and you know that this is the top. After the first one, then it makes sense. After the first one, it does make a lot more sense because obviously your print, will be back here and you'll be setting it down on there. So I got my yellow because again, you print from your lightest colors to your darkest. I'm gonna put this on and get this inked up. So nothing new on this because you did this already with your monogram. Okay, I'm getting this on. Now, I do have a border around here, but I don't need to get that with my yellow, okay, because it's gonna be black. So I'm just kind of focusing in on the areas that I need to have color. Now, your Sharpie does come through when you do this. When you print, it kind of pulls it. That's never really been a major problem with students. They've never really cared that much. That was fine. If that does bother you and you haven't already use Sharpie, a ballpoint pen might work a little better. It'd be a smaller line, so it'd be kind of a little more careful about it, but it would probably still work. Now, I'm really listening for that sound. Because if I don't hear that in an area, I don't have enough ink. So I gotta make sure that I have enough. Printing is also one of those things you kind of want to do at the beginning of the hour, or at least have a good 30 minutes. So even after watching this demonstration, if you're ready to print and you got your paper all set, you have time to print. Now you can already kind of see that I do have some yellow being picked up here and there from the bottom, where I carved out. You will not lose points off of that. That is a lot of times what I like to consider, just something kind of a fun additive to it. I'm hearing that sound a lot better now. Edges are usually the parts that you miss, so I'm trying to focus on that a little more. And we are set. So I know that this is going to be my bottom because this is where I have that bad part on here. So I know every time I put this on here, I should be able to line that back up. Now I don't have any ink in these areas, so it's easy for me to just kind of press in those areas. Mine fits really good. I don't have any marks on here where I said I need to push down to the left or to the right. This is all set. I may turn this around because it's a lot easier to doing it this way. I'm gonna get my pins. Okay, I'm gonna grab my paper. I can feel the dimple on this side, so I know that it goes like this. So dimple is down. I'm gonna put my pin in, put it all the way through. Find that circle with that hole right there, and stick it in. Same thing on the other side. Okay, now that I have this part, I wanna make sure that it's nice and flat along the side, so it looks like, it's kinda like an arch. Set this down, push this down right over top of there. I'm gonna rub it like that, and then we are going to put it through the press. Okay, so now that we're at the press, I'm gonna make sure the bed is pushed all the way to one side. I have a blanket down. I'm gonna put my project, kind of slide it in until it just kind of catches a little bit. Okay, so I know that's good. Put the other blanket on top of that. And we're gonna roll it through. Remember, sometimes you have to give it a little bit of push and then it'll go by itself. So you don't have to push the whole time, just enough until it actually catches. Okay, and then I can take my blankets off and I take my project off. Okay, let's go back and look at it. Okay, so now I have my project here. I can pull it up and see what kind of print I have. And this is, to me, it's a good print. I don't see any white showing through this at all. Like I said, your marker, your Sharpie kind of comes through just a little bit. Again, it's not that, to me, it's not that big of an issue. You would not lose any points on that. Because a lot of times those are transitions to darker colors anyway, so you don't really even notice it. So this is good. So I'm gonna set this off to the side, and then I'm gonna print it again. Now remember, you have to make sure this is off, okay? So I'm taking that off, and I have my ink on the side here. I'm gonna run kind of a time-elapse video, and we'll do 2 more. I'm gonna add the colors. Okay, something I wanted to show you that you don't always have to just do solid colors. I could actually add some white with this. I could actually add some yellow with it. Or some kind of an orange with it. I think orange would actually be the better color. So I don't want to over mix it. So right now, let's make this a newer one. This is all set to be printed. Because I go on here, I hear the sound. So I know it's all ready. I have enough ink on there to do a print, but I want to have some texture this time. So I'm going to add a little bit of this color onto my yellow. Now the trick with doing this is you don't want dots necessarily, but if you keep mixing it over and over again, you're just going to mix these two together into another flat color. But we're going for more of like a texture. So I'm just going in, and that's about it. I don't know if you can quite see that on here, but if I keep mixing, it'll just kind of change the color. But I think that's just to give you a hint of the color itself, and I don't want to go really crazy with it. Okay, let's print this one and see what happens. Okay, another thing that you can do is you don't always have to take the entire thing, especially if yours is loose. I'm going to pull the pins. I'm actually going to get my hand underneath it and kind of pop it off. Now it should stick because I did this and it didn't shift it at all. And it just sticks, the ink just sticks to the thing. So I'm gonna go print this and be right back. Okay, so here's my next one. So that's nice. It has a little more texture to it. It's not real flat. It's still a good print. I don't see any white showing through the colors, so this is a really good one. So now I have my first print, my second one, and let's try it again. If I want to go back to a strict yellow, I would definitely have to clean this up, but we'll completely mix these two colors together, and I'm going to add a little more yellow to it. Okay, this one's all done. I can hear that real well, so we're good with that. I am going to add, because I do like adding this to give a little more of a flavor to it, I'm going to add white this time instead. Again, you don't have to do this. It's just kind of a fun way of kind of messing around with it. Okay, and that's that texture. Okay, and there's my last one. This one probably wasn't as good as my other ones have been. It looked like it might have shifted a little bit because it has like a double point here. I can see that I probably had too much ink because it's really going over those lines a lot. So this is probably my worst one out of my three. Sometimes, which is fine, because this is why we do 3 prints, is because sometimes things like this happen. And sometimes the variance you have on here, the oddity, actually becomes like your best one because it's very unique. I might have some, maybe it'll make it feel like it has a lot of movement because you'll have these multiple prints kind of thing. So we'll just hang on to this one still, obviously, and kind of work with it. This one, because I feel like it's not going to be as successful, I'm going to print my next color on this one as a way of kind of testing it, because you got to kind of figure out, do you feel like your first one's good or your last one or your second one? Usually your first one you're not real good. Usually your second one turns out the best, and then usually your third one also turns out good. But obviously I screwed this one up. So I'm gonna let this sit and dry, and I'm gonna let this sit and dry, and I'll show you the video on that one where to put it at. Okay, now that we have these printed, we're going to be putting them into our drying racks. Now you can keep, like one of them in your cubbies because you can. You just don't want to stack them on top of each other. You take this. This is a little narrower than I intended when I first made it, so it doesn't quite fit exactly. You'll have to bend it just a little bit, and then it slides in. So it's not exactly 12 inches. There is one on the other side. That one is a little better made, so that one you don't have to worry about that. But I'm going to just kind of bend it just a little bit. Slides right in. Again, they're not on top of each other. There's a piece of cardboard that helps separate them. And that's it. Now, if yours isn't there when you come back, there's times that we just run out of room. So like I pulled these off from another demonstration and they were dry. So I can stack these. But I needed the room for that. So if you can't find yours, I usually put them off to the side if all of a sudden we just need a little bit more room. So other than that, let's go back and I'm going to show you what I want to now cut out because I want to keep that yellow, okay? Now that you have all your stuff put away, you have to clean this up. So I'm going to pop this off. I'm going to take this to the sink and I'm going to wash it really, really good. Now, because you have marker underneath there, your lines will still stay good. And I'm going to also make sure I wash all of this. I'll be right back. Okay, now that I have this washed, I wish I could wash that fast in real life. Washing is not my favorite thing either, okay? So I get it. But I do need you guys to take care of this stuff so we can keep using it. So now that I have my 3 prints, and I'll show you that here in a second, or right now, is I have number 3, number 2, and number 1. So I have them all set. Now I want to carve out whatever I want to keep this color. Now the inside part of the sun is what I want to keep yellow. And the outside part of the sun, you can see there's a line that separates it, and I have this next part. I want to have that kind of like an orange, maybe even a red, or we'll kind of see how I can even blend colors together a little bit. So now what I want to do is I want to carve out this. Now I want to go right up to that black line because my ultimate idea is to have a black outline around your colors to make them really pop. Okay, you might have something a little bit different, but that's how I want to do this, is I want to keep those black lines. So even though this is wet, you can still go ahead and if you have time during class, you can still get this cut, and then we'll do that next demonstration.